because people trust brands more when they display actual, true negative reviews from real customers, because then they know they're not gaming it. So if they see some real negative reviews from real customers that aren't manipulated, like you said, where it's a negative, but it's a positive, then they trust the company more and they trust the other reviews more. Because if they only see 5-star reviews, there's no way, there's no perfect company.
Yeah.
There's no 5-star company, right? We all know that. But if you only show 5-star reviews and a 5-star rating, your trust goes out the window.
You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
And welcome. You are listening to and watching the Financial Survival Network. I'm your host, Kerry Lutz. Well, when it comes to reputation, when it comes to buying online or buying in a store, reputation is everything. And if you're in business and you're doing well, the odds are you have a good reputation. And why is that important? Well, DJ Sprague, Scott Brandley, two experts in the space, are here with us now to really explore this. And Scott, you mentioned when you're buying some gold and silver from a company you don't know, reputation is everything, because you got to send your money to that dealer before you even get the stuff shipped. And they're going to hold your money for at least a week to make sure you can't back out the ACH or the wire transfer. So determining a company's reputation is everything, and it's not just as simple as doing a Google search, is it?
Right. Yeah. There are a lot of fraud out there, right? And especially when it comes to gold and silver, high ticket items, there's a lot of shady characters and businesses that will take your money and not give you what you actually wanted. So one of the most important things you can look for is trust signals. And one of the biggest things there is ratings and reviews, which is kind of what we do.
All right. So ratings, reviews. My son almost got a job one time with this company called Trustpilot, much bigger in Europe than in the United States, but they seem to be catching on here in the United States. But you need to be your own Trustpilot, right? You need to figure out the trust, even in the absence of others who say you can trust this person or company.
Yeah. So there needs to be, especially when it comes to high ticket items like gold and silver, you really need to look for a third party rating and review company that is trustworthy. And there's a few that I would recommend, including us. But there's also a lot that I wouldn't recommend. And there's different things you can look for on it as far as ratings and reviews go, so that you know if you can trust a company or not.
Yeah, well, I would just say when it comes to buying gold and silver, I'm going to do this a plug. He's not a sponsor, but we do. He is an affiliate. I'm an affiliate marketer of his, and that is Miles Franklin. I know Andy Scheckman, personal friend of mine, been working with him for going on 15 years. And if you look up the company Miles Franklin Precious Metals Investments, you will find that he's never had a better business complaint in 35 years. And he's never had a lawsuit during that time. So if you're looking for third-party validation and you're thinking of buying gold, you get over to milesfranklin.com and you tell them that I sent you so I can make a couple bucks too. But because I know, and I crafted this tagline for him, which is, when you buy, they ship, because the jails are full of gold and silver fraudsters stealing your money and never shipping. So anyway, I'm just putting that plug in for Andy, and he's, like I said, great friend, totally honest above board. How do you find people like me to give companies recommendations like that, guys?
Right. Yeah, it's tricky. That is a form of trust, right? A personal recommendation from an expert is a form of trust. The Better Business Bureau, the fact that he hasn't had any complaints, that's a form of trust. And so you just got to look for those kind of things when you're buying online.
Okay.
Well, you want to look at multiple review platforms too. There's a lot of companies that collect their own reviews. And by collecting their own reviews, they're also able to delete any review they don't like. So you'll see only 4 and 5 star reviews or only 5-star reviews, and all of the less than perfect reviews are deleted. So you want to make sure that if you're collecting ratings or reviews as a website or e-commerce store, you're working with a Google review partner, because as a Google review partner, you cannot delete the negative reviews. And that's a big, big form of trust. And also working with a Google review partner like Shopper Approved, plug for us. We have a unique ability to send reviews to other review platforms like Trustpilot, like Better Business Bureau, like Reseller Ratings, SiteJabber, et cetera, so that your reputation can be distributed across the web and not just on your own website. And we like to say that if you only have reviews on your website and nowhere else, then they're basically an island and nobody sees those reviews unless they go to your website. But then the question is, can they believe those reviews if they're not also showing up on other platforms? So those are some good trust signals. And Scott and I wrote a book called Reputation King that talks all about the review industry and how to leverage reviews, how to create a positive online reputation, how to syndicate reviews across the web, and how to really make sure that you're putting your best foot forward, not in a contrived and manipulated way, but in a positive and accurate way.
Okay. So, websites like Yelp, right? They do restaurant reviews.
Right.
And then they're playing the other end where, you want to get rid of them, buy a sponsorship here, advertise with Yelp. I remember Amazon, there's a group that I knew that was attempting to manipulate the review mechanism there and using people in China, virtual private networks, all of this. And for a time it worked. They were doing amazing. But then they were dumb. They had a private Facebook group where people swapped reviews about products and services. Amazon, I think it was Facebook, ratted them out to Amazon. They wound up getting sued, and that was the end of their course. But they made several $1 million in the process. Reviews are tricky, but a lot of the sites' reputations rely upon these reviews, and they police them. Yelp, I take those reviews with a grain of salt, because you could get a lousy meal at the best restaurant on the planet and you write a lousy review. And what does that tell you, right?
Yeah. Well, Kerry, you're up to something. There's actually 2 different types of review platforms online, and most consumers don't know that, but you just talked to that. So there's open review platforms where anyone can leave a review, like Yelp or Trustpilot. And then there's verified review platforms where only people that actually buy from that company can leave a review. And consumers aren't aware that there's 2 different types of platforms. And so they do go to places like Yelp or Trustpilot. And it's kind of a mixed bag. Like you were saying, you just don't know if those reviews are manipulated, if their competitor is actually review bombing them, right? Or if they're paying, like you said, to these other third-party companies to actually add fake reviews to their account. So you have to be really careful.
Well, the other part of that with Yelp specifically, and they've been sued multiple times. You can look this up. It's public information. But unfortunately, the courts always side in their favor, because they say, look, it's a private enterprise. They have a private proprietary review algorithm, and we can't control it. The courts cannot control their private algorithm. The way their algorithm works is if you're a paying client, then the negative reviews are weighted less in the algorithm, and the positive reviews are weighted more in the algorithm. The minute you stop paying, literally immediately, it swaps. The negative reviews are weighted more in the algorithm and the positive reviews weighted less. So it's literally the mafia. It's the review mafia. You have to pay to play, and that's how Yelp works. And that's just what it is.
And if you're a restaurant, you almost have no choice. Now, one thing, guys, when I look at a series of reviews, I don't like to see all good reviews. Okay. So giving one lousy review can really enhance the credibility of all the positive reviews. And some of these guys are really sneaky because they will write a negative review, a 3-star review, in the most positive of terms. Like, even though I didn't like the product that much, they were always on me with customer service, responding positively and doing everything that a company should do. So it's called like damning them with faint praise, or the opposite of that, which I don't know what it is, but elevating them with faint criticism, I guess.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, Kerry, because there's a couple of studies. One study found that when people read negative reviews, they convert at a 79% greater conversion rate. Another one says that when people read the complete negative reviews, they convert at 118% higher conversion rate. Why is that? Because people trust brands more when they display actual, true negative reviews from real customers, because then they know they're not gaming it. So if they see some real negative reviews from real customers that aren't manipulated, like you said, where it's a negative, but it's a positive, then they trust the company more and they trust the other reviews more. Because if they only see 5-star reviews, there's no way, there's no perfect company.
Yeah.
There's no 5-star company, right? We all know that. But if you only show 5-star reviews and a 5-star rating, your trust goes out the window. In fact, research says that the sweet spot is a average star rating between 4.2 and 4. And that's really where you want to be. You don't want to have a perfect 5-star rating.
No, it's so true, because it's a credibility builder, and people don't like perfection. But yeah, so let's talk about. I'm just thinking about that. Like company like Overstock, it's not unusual to see products listed on their website to have lousy reviews, like 2s or 3s, And to me, it's like, hey, that is the ultimate credibility builder, because then when I see there's 100 4.5-star, 4.8-star reviews, I'm much more apt to believe it.
Yeah, you and everybody else. Yeah, it's really the way it works. And here's the other trick about negative reviews, Kerry, is respond to every negative review.
Yeah.
Because people look at negative reviews almost more than they'd look at positive reviews, because they want to see how bad is bad. Is the product absolutely deplorable, or did it just arrive in a, torn up package, but the product is great? They want to see how bad it is and what they can expect. But what they really want to see is how did the brand respond to that review or that complaint or that criticism? And if you have, let's say, 10 negative reviews and you don't respond to any of them, then the consumer thinks, oh, they're not a responsive, customer-centric brand. But if, on the other hand, the brand responds to those and say, hey, Kerry, sorry that the package arrived, in a damaged box. We'll ship you out another one, or whatever. We'll take care of you. However, 99% of our clients are very happy. Look at our, positive reviews, our 3,212 positive reviews. So you flip that. But the main thing is the customer wants to know how bad is bad, and the brand is actually reading, listening, and acknowledging and responding to those issues. If they ghost those customers, then people feel like, well, if I have a problem, they're not going to take care of me either. So it's really important to respond.
Totally. Hey, so, one review that I see, one negative review that I see is the crank negative review, where, the guy is just annoying and he's not going to be happy with anything, or she for that matter. And that's also a credibility builder, because you read it and you say, well, if that's the worst somebody had to say, that ain't so bad. And then that actually enhances the credibility of the company, right?
That's exactly right. People complain about the most ridiculous things. You see reviews all the time, a 1-star rating because it arrived a day later than they thought it was going to arrive.
Or it got
Really, is that worth a
one neighbor's
rating?
house, right? It got dropped off at my neighbor's house. Like, hey, they're not UPS. They're not the post office. They shipped it to you. You got it eventually. What are you bitching about, right?
Exactly. And that's one of the reasons people read negative reviews for those things. Like, really, is it the product or is it the UPS or the what is it? Yeah, or the customer. Is it the person had a bad day?
Hey. So what are some real red flags, though, that you look at in reviews and online reputation and you say, no mas, skip this one. We don't want to know about them.
Well, I would say not if a company has very few reviews, or if they don't have reviews from a trusted third party site, that's a big red flag. You want to find a company that has a lot of reviews. And the second thing we talked about, you don't want a company with just 5 stars. You want to have a company that's got somewhere between, like DJ said, 4.2 to 4.7. And you want to look at the 1 stars and make sure that the company's responding to those 1 stars, and that they're showing some empathy and really trying to help those clients. If it's just, just a plug, automatic response type thing, that doesn't do any good either, right? You want to make sure that they're actually taking time to write a custom response to those 1 and 2 star reviews, and then also triangulate. You want to do a search for that company online, so abc.com reviews, and see if they have what their reviews look like on other review platforms that pop up. And if it's consistent across the board and they have a lot of really good reviews in that range and they're taking care of their clients, it's a trustworthy company.
Mm-hmm. All right. And hey, can you name a company that like manipulated all the algorithms and everything and really put one over on the clients and the customers and really almost got away with murder?
There's lots of lawsuits about that. As you know, you mentioned Amazon earlier. A lot of people have sued companies. Well, it's actually illegal. It's illegal advertising. It's manipulative advertising to bury negative reviews and only show positive reviews. And if you're caught, you could literally be sued for false advertising, manipulating the consumer into thinking you have a better product than you really do. We don't want to mention brands, but there's lots of brands that have tried that. And you know that Amazon is constantly trying to identify and penalize or kick off the platform companies that manipulate the reviews, buy reviews, et cetera, from people that weren't even customers, because that's a real big problem. So, you got to look at that. But here's the other tricky thing, Kerry, is there's also been situations where a brand took a position, a political position, religious position, whatever. They took a position, and then the opponent, the party or the group or the religious group or what have you that didn't like that position, bombast that company, even though they didn't buy from that company. And they kind of get on their little phone trees and email trees and say, hey, leave a negative review for, abc.com because they said this and they don't support that. And that's the problem with open review platforms, is they become a complaint board for people that aren't even real customers. So when we say a verified review platform, you really want to work with a platform that collects reviews from verified customers, which means post-purchase. They actually purchase the product, then they get the opportunity to leave a review. But if you can go to Trustpilot, for example, and not even be a customer and leave a negative review or a positive review, is there any validity in that? Is there any credibility whatsoever if you don't have to show proof of purchase? Mm-hmm. It's just an opinion. It's not really a review because there's no proof of purchase behind that review. So those are some of the things you got to look at.
All right. And yeah, you see that on Amazon, unverified or, verified purchase. And, you want to see that they really did business. So, all right, guys. Well, hey, how do we find out more about you? How do we get your book?
Yeah, go to reputationking.com And you can download the free audio and video version of the book. You can also buy the book for $20. We ship the hard copy book with some other fun goodies. $20 includes shipping, handling, the book, the whole bit. Or you can download the digital and audio copy. You can also go to shopperapproved.com and learn more about our verified rating and review platform. We're a Google and Bing review partner. So we syndicate our reviews to both the search engines, Google and Bing, show up in your Google ads, your organic listings, your Google shopping, etc. And we wrote the first and only book in the entire world on e-commerce reputation management, because that's what we do, and it's in our DNA.
All right. Well, we appreciate it. Hey, link is in the show notes, this interview on financialsurvivalnetwork.com. And make sure when you go there, you sign up for your free newsletter, like 75,000 other FSN members have done. I think close to 75,000. And if you've got any questions for myself or the guys here, kl@kerrylutz.com is the email address. Appreciate you guys coming on, DJ and Scott. Wish you the best.
Thanks, Gary.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.